This is Free4All Friday. Welcome. Let's celebrate some growing. Get revved up for this week that's coming up where we might have a thaw. I mean, I'm not going to depend on it, but it looks like Monday and Tuesday we could actually do some pruning and catch up outside. This is our 66th Free4All Friday. Hey, Stephen.
Okay.
So you'll have to bring a chair in here and sit in here. Hey. I said before we got online we were going to cut your hair. Haven't done it yet. Thanks for being here. So you came in off of our Fridays. I'm going to tell you a little bit about all the stuff that we've stacked up on the website, and about people I'm talking to who have their own websites that have the same problems we do with too much stuff. And that's where we are, Free4All Fridays, 66. I had a group of master gardeners asking me the other day, well, where do you find out what looks good in the winter? If it is nice this week, if there are actually days in the 40s, and I said, well, you go out in the winter, go look and see what looks good. You can read in books and they'll tell you, oh, this looks good in winter, that doesn't, but you need to judge for yourself whether you like the looks of different things. If I can get the pruning that needs doing done on the possible 2 days for pruning this week, if I can get it done in one day, then I'm going to get Steve to take me down to someplace. This is Dawes Arboretum this Dawes in South Central, would you say, Ohio, Steve? He's on his way, yeah. Anyway, a little bit warmer than we are sometimes. But
Sorry
you
to
can stand and look
interrupt.
and say,
Are
yeah,
you recording
look, that's
this?
a nice green. Whereas that one's kind of a brown green. I like this shape. I like that color. It's a good time during this late part of the year. There's this conifer collection of the Dawes Arboretum. Again, you can sit on the bench and look and say, I like that one over there. And if you trek over to there, you can find the tag and read just what it is. Steve's working his way behind me. I think this was before they replanted it. This says Dawes Arboretum, and there's a overlook. That's where Steve has climbed up to take the picture. It's all arborvitae, but at one point, not too long ago, as these got bigger, and they don't prune them, they just let them grow. They took them all out and planted again in order to have it still say Dawes Arboretum.
Where do I sit?
Go out and take a look at stuff that looks good. And I've been walking. I've been walking on the weekend, working on the weekend walkabout topics again, and I haven't changed.
Are you
the
recording?
Last I looked, yes, I'm recording.
Okay.
Weeds. After talking about what we wanted to do with weeds, that one is going to get turned toward weeds in large plantings, mass plantings like rain gardens and prairies and woodland naturalized gardens. And Neil DeBold is going to do that for us. And Neil is just, what a cool guy. This is Prairie Nursery in Wisconsin. So I've been working with him. And when you work with other people who are excited about what they do and have lots of information, he has a ton of information. Then we get into the problem of, okay, how much of this are we going to fit in? We'll see how that works, but that'll be the first one in season 7, April 11th. And for diagnosing trouble, which I'm pretty sure we moved to October 3rd. We swapped these two so that we could get Dave Roberts. And Dave Roberts, who we knew through his career at Michigan State in the extension, is one of the best diagnosticians in the world, really. This guy can sniff out what the cause of the problem is and like nothing. He's retired now, but he's got a website, plantdoctorllc.com, I think is what it is. And he's got hundreds of articles there and trying to talk about what are you going to talk about? What are we going to get going here? So I've been working on those kinds of things. And we had our garden book club on Monday this week. We decided we're going to read, we pulled numbers out of a hat and looked at the number that it corresponded with our book list. And we're reading The Bees by Aline Paul. It's a work of fiction, but it's based and it describes the life of a bee. I know something about it, and I'm thrilled that we're reading that one. If you are planning on coming, you should know that we're working on taking a vote. If you want, I see somebody was here if you want to put in chat what your vote is now, you can, because those people who've been at the book club meeting, I told them vote. We might be moving to the third Mondays of each month so that some of the people who really want to be there can be there. that's been my week. And it's going away. It's melting. It's melting. Some of you were here. Is Ruth here? Because Ruth was the one that started the question. Ruth. No, Ruth doesn't look like she's here today, but Ruth sent in an article, and I'm not repeating the article here, just wanting to let you know that when we talked about the Star of Bethlehem ornithogalum article that Ruth found through MSU that said, oh, it's a great cut flower, and it's ornithogalum umbulatum. That is the wrong botanical name, and we did write the author of the article, so we'll wait and see what they say wait and see if they change it or what we can do about that. So thank you for kind of nudging us in that direction. Some of you were here to know that this is where Sonia was 2 weeks ago in Scotland, in this place where they say, oh, the Highlands are so cold, really cold. I mean, look at that. It's all green. What are those sheep? Yeah, those sheep out there.
Yep.
Yeah. While her husband was out hiking in the hills, going up to look at the waterfalls. Okay, so sharpen your pruners because it's time. This is our holly and one of our hollies in our backyard. I'm pretty sure this was a previous year, but I'm pretty sure it's done the same thing again, where if I go in there and take a look, the weight of the snow has pulled the branches apart, and I'm going to need to cut that all the way back down below the breaks. It's sad to do that. You say, oh, I've lost that big branch, but it's not going to be a good branch. And there's always more stuff that can grow up from there. And if we can get that out of the way now, then it's ready to start growing again as soon as the winter clears up. Greg sent us this picture when I talked to Greg and took a look at these hemlocks that he'd planted or had planted for a client. They were at the time that he planted them 10 feet tall here. And he retired and went back, and the client said, I think they're too big. He says, you think? He was very brave and very resourceful. He got a tree company to come in and bring their lift. They've got a lift machine that can run on grass. It's not the whole truck. And to come up to the top, and he directed them from the ground. I want you to cut that top off. Cut that top right there. Get into the main trunk and cut that off, and then angle these branches down so that we've got place for it to grow again. I don't think I have an after of it, and I'm not sure Greg is here tonight.
I haven't. I didn't see Greg when I scrolled through.
Okay, I'll ask him to bring that. But getting to be that time, willows have been
not currently.
The willows have been yellowing up, and then the cattails open. This is that ruby red French pussy willow.
Yep.
They're so cute. You just got
those are beautiful buds.
I mean, out and touch them.
They weren't there two different varieties there, along with that had a different one, had a different color bud.
Yeah, there was a silvery bud.
I mean, in this arbor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely got some damage to things like the hypericums and the euphorbias that are sometimes evergreen. They got hit hard when it was so cold in December so early. And those are things we can cut down. People always are hesitant to cut that down. They go, well, maybe it'll come back. Do you really want it to come back from wood that bad? Cut it back. Let it come back from better buds on the trunk if it's got them. If it doesn't have them, well, then you've got an opportunity to try something else.
Yep.
Spireas. I mean, who's going to miss that? Who is this? This looks like this is at Tollgate. Is this at Tollgate? I think it is.
Might be.
Yeah. But yeah, nobody's going to miss that shrub when you cut it all the way down to the ground. I can see the little bits of stubble from when it's been cut before. I was the first time that I saw spirea cut all the way back to nothing was at Dow Gardens, I think. I was walking along past that curvy walk that goes past their dwarf conifers and then out toward the conservatory. And the spirea that I knew had been there before weren't there. I said, oh, they pulled them out. And then I looked and went, no, they just cut them all the way back to the ground. You go, that's a good, that works for me. And we do that a lot. They bloom later. They grow with straighter stems. You can tell this has been cut back because that's a 1-year growth, the straight stem there. Right. If that stem is live next year, it branches like the tip did here. And they get wider the way you pull them.
Before you know it, the little 3 to 5 foot shrub gets 6 to 7.
Well, this is a Bumalda. They're not going to get too much more than 4 feet. But I want to cut them all the way back, all the way. I don't even want to leave that. Somebody left that stubble in the previous year, and that's not going to grow. The buds that are at that are warm down at ground level are going to grow up. So cut them hard. If you're worried about them because it might get too cold, just throw some mulch on top of them, rake the leaves back on top of them. But time to
Mm.
prove. Okay, what questions are
No
there? No
questions.
questions?
No, just 2 votes for the third week.
Okay, good. Got it. Making a note.
It's a hawk.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, it's a, we think this guy is a Cooper's. We have a Cooper's hawk, a sharp-shinned hawk, and a red-tailed hawk that all
Hang
hunt
around,
in our yard,
which we like.
yeah, we like that. Deb Hall has been seeing the turkeys this week, and so have I. The turkeys have been out saying, you know what? Groundhog Day has passed. The turkeys down on the Bend and Bogey Lake Road, Steve, have been out at the house right at the corner. There are about 10 of them, and the males are strutting their stuff, putting
Yeah.
out their tail feathers and strutting back and forth. Deb Hall says they're coming right up to her windows and banging on the windows.
Has she
Yeah.
been feeding him?
I think Deb's always been feeding them.
Be always. Only in the backyard, but they peck at the front windows.
Only in the back, like they know front from back.
Yeah.
Um, the as you turn to go to the where
You
the
don't need to
Martin
say.
Center where Elizabeth went to preschool, and you turn on that road, and before you go to the parking lot, there's kind of a farmer's field right there. There might have been 100 turkeys in there a week
That
ago.
many?
It was
Wow.
all over, and a few of the males were doing, and I totally forgot to tell you about it until you just said, and you said
Now we
that
know.
turkey story before. I heard it
Now we
before
know.
and still didn't remember.
As I remember Deb Hall and the turkeys, there was kind of a little bit of a competition between her and three of the neighbors to see who could get the turkeys to set up in their yard.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I don't think you'll have much.
yeah. I mean, yeah, they're cool to have around. My parents moved on a lake when I was in high school, and we fed the ducks. And if you didn't get the food out to the ducks, they would come up and bang. They would bang on the aluminum, the bottom panel of the outside screen door was an aluminum piece, and they would bang on that. You could not miss it. My mother was not happy with us because they would come first thing in the morning and start banging on that.
I have not been tempted to let our feeders, with Janet's help, not get that low.
Yeah.
To see what the squirrels and woodpeckers would do.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Clivia? It is a uh, tender tropical. It has a beautiful flower on it. There are some yellow ones. Most are orange or reddish orange. And it's a great plant. Where was this, Steve? The monks had
Mexico City,
Okay, so this is Clivia as a
at
ground
this
cover plant.
going into the zoo in a little bit.
Yeah, amazing, huh? Yeah, and the flowers are pretty. I don't think they have a smell. I can't remember ever smelling
I haven't
Clivia.
either.
Um, they bloom best when they are a bit root bound. And I think this is Sonia Sauter's Clivia. She asked about things turning yellow. And while I was looking for other Clivia, is why when I found this one, I went, wait, I think we have something going on here. Way back in 2009, we were repotting a Clivia.
Yeah, how long ago that
Yeah, we
was?
were potting a Clivia in order to show people what we mean by root bound. This one blooms quite well. It's our friend Pam Fiani's Clivia, and the pod is bulging. It's
You can see it better in the very bottom
yeah, you can see
picture.
the bottom picture that the sides are bulging. We went and took a look at that Clivia, and if you look right in there, do you see that those are eggs?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
there are slugs living in this Clivia, and they're scraping the leaves and leaving their wonderful little eggs behind in various places. When it gets real tight, it's not just tight in the roots, but tight in other places and and that's a weevil. Slugs don't eat the edges.
No,
Weevils eat the edges.
slugs scrape.
Yeah. So I told Pam, as long as it's okay with you, I'm going to take a division out and repot it so that we got that. And in order to get that out, it's not coming out of that pot.
No,
That's like putting plants into those pots with a narrower opening than the side. I mean, you're never getting them out of there without breaking the pot.
or extremely hurting the crown of the plant. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you
So
have to cut.
so I've got a sharp knife and I'm slicing down the side And that's what they mean by root bound. And I'm making several slices around so I can just lift it right out of
It's a
the,
lot easier to make several slices.
yeah. Then I've got the knife and I'm slicing between one of the offsets in the main part of the plant. So I'm slicing between there because those are growing out that way. You'll see it when we pull it out. Once I get it loose there, now I've got to try to loosen the roots and get some roots with it. So I'm loosening along down the side, pulling roots up and out in order to get some pressure off of the ones that are under there. And in some cases, once I found some that were too tight, I've got the knife back in there and I'm cutting and then wiggling, seeing if I've got enough loose on the roots, wiggling some more, trying not to worry too much about hurting the plant while Steve goes, ooh, ah. And there it comes. Almost like a big tarantula. So that's a wonderful big plant. So I think that's probably blooming size.
Yeah.
Now all that's left for me to do is where I cut that division away and cut some of the roots. Now I'd like to get the roots that I cut out of there. There's no sense having them take up room in the pot and just sit there and become organic matter. I mean, they won't sprout. So there's where I made my cut. And there's all the roots that I took out of that. And then those two will go back in a pot. This one in a littler pot, and that one back into pretty much the same size pot that it
Same
came
size
out.
pot with it got most of the syrup, so
Because it is getting time to repot. 1st of March is plants just take off the 1st of March. So if you can get them into a new pot sometime during the next couple of weeks, they will fill that pot real quickly and you won't have a problem like you can have with some plants where the tips of the roots, where they meet the new soil around the outside edge, those tips of the roots get too wet and don't have enough oxygen and end up rotting the tips and it slows the plant down or even kills it back a little bit.
yeah.
So what you want is to have it grow fast out into that new soil.
Um, so Diane asked, do you use standard pruners to cut down the spireas to the ground? I do, and I struggle with it because it is a lot of cutting. Is this the best way?
Um, I don't know if there's a best way. I generally use my hand pruners to cut
Yeah.
shrubs that I cut each year all the way down to the ground. But sometimes I use loppers because some of those stems are too thick and trying to get to work my way between them is hard to do. Um, I tried using a chainsaw one time and I can't really hold it level with the ground and get them short enough. I end up having to clip things off afterward.
And shears just rip, so you can't.
I'm wondering whether
Really sharp ones
if
might work if it's a small twig,
I
but
mean, I about uh, beat Steve around the shoulders and head when I found him with my good shears out there cutting something down. I said, "You put those away. You don't use my good head shears for that." Um, the the tool called a trimmer, brush
yeah.
trimmer, not a brush hog, brush trimmer. It looks kind of like a weed whip, except that at the end it's got a fixed blade. You could use that if it was sharp and you
As
went
long
right
as
at
it's
it. You,
sharp,
yep,
I think, but it's still mechanical, so
yeah.
it
It's
can move
easy. It's
around.
easier to deal with shrubs that way to cut them all the way back, but easiest is to not have to do anything at all. Let them just grow to what they need to grow to. Um,
See, Herman is asking Jen and Steve, what do you folks have on your work list if it gets relatively warm this next week?
I'll be finishing pruning the crab apple. I just prune it to keep it small. I'll be pruning down to the ground butterfly bush, beautyberry. What else have we got out there that I cut all the way down? Panicle hydrangeas, Caryopteris, Blue spirea. Anything that I can cut all the way to the ground, I'd like to get cut all the way to the ground. Otherwise, there I am, the end of March, running around like a crazy thing because I'd like to cut them down
Yeah.
before they start growing. I also have a boxwood that two boxwoods that I'm going to cut back because they've gotten big enough that I can start topiarying them or training them into that topiary.
Yep.
This was February 26th.
And
in
Yeah.
2009, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So
They
but
could
it
be
is,
blooming right now,
yeah.
even after this.
These are
It's
the hybrid
affecting them.
spring witch hazels, the hybrids between the Chinese witch hazels and our southeast
You're
of
seeing a
North America,
very small portion of their
of their
collection
big
at Dawes
Dawes
Arboretum.
Arboretum.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nancy G is saying, when a group of us were visiting Julia Hoffley, she said the turkeys mowed through her gardens, making that area a mess. So I hope they never get to my yard, Nancy.
Uh-oh.
Then she commented on the taking the Clivia.
Love
Ever wanted to become a surgeon, Janet? LOL.
you. Thanks, Carol.
Um, what did you do about the weevil and the slugs on that potted plant?
I didn't find any weevil grubs or any weevils in the pot. So I'm thinking that it was either hiding too well from me or that we shook it out while I was busy tearing the pot apart. But I'd do the same thing for the weevils that we do outside if I can help it, which is it's not now, but later in the summer,
Yeah.
boy, inside the house. Sonia had them all year. I would be treating the soil with beneficial nematodes for the weevil, so that once it laid eggs and there were
Yeah.
grubs in the ground, there would be something that would kill them. You have to keep the soil evenly moist. You can't let it dry down, so that won't work on some plants that need to dry down, but it would definitely work on a clivia that you're just keeping evenly moist. I was going to point out what I've learned about the hydrangeas. So this hydrangea, you can see all the flowers.
Hydrangea.
I'm
And
sorry, Hamamelis, witch
yeah,
hazel.
H.
You can see all the flowers. This one, the flowers are lost in the leaves. That's something that they do generally until they get more mature. Once they get more mature, they don't hold juvenile leaves through the winter time. But for your first few years when you're growing a spring witch hazel, you may be disappointed that the show is cluttered by leaves.
You may be
And
it's same with the American witch hazel in the fall that it could
oh,
bloom
sometimes,
and be
yeah.
cluttered with leaf.
But you know what? I don't think so.
Sorry.
I don't think the fall blooming witch hazel, the Hamamelis virginiana. This one is Hamamelis cross Malus. Malus is the Chinese one, and the southeastern one is Hamamelis vernus.
Vernalis.
Vernalis. Um, I don't think that the fall witch hazel that's native up here, I don't think it ever grows out of having its leaves when it's blooming. It's just some years
The
you can see
leaves.
the leaves
Yeah.
better, but sometimes its leaves are turning yellow and it's blooming yellow, and then you lose all the effect. Yeah, the spring witch hazels are much showier.
Sungruba says she uses loppers or the reciprocating saw.
Oh, that's right, the reciprocating saw that I'll bring that. I'll show them that again next week soon. We'll see if we can sell that out at Home Depot. Steve, you want to go talk to the Home Depot people and find out whether we can get a kickback to the website people here? Okay. So what else am I going to do? Well, I'm going to cut up that pine branch that fell into the backyard because it's laying on top of all kinds of things back there. Um, I'm going to bundle up a bunch of twigs that I cut in the fall and didn't get bundled up so that I've got them ready to use in various places. I'm going to try to put the blue branch back straight because I can't stand in that garden when all the plants are up, and I need
Yeah.
to stand in the garden to work on the blue branch sculpture. But I'm just going to enjoy being outside, really.
Yeah.
Steve
there's
is
some-
going to go out with the garden rake, the nice hooked over hard rake, and the scoop shovel. And he is going to go underneath the bird feeders.
And clean up all the
There is a squirrel shield, one of those cones you put around the shepherd's hook.
that they knocked down.
They knocked it down and it was sitting on the ground, and only the top 2 inches are showing, and everything
And
that's
it's not all
hiding it
snow.
it's not. It's being hidden by way too thick a seed, and that goes back into our compost area. We just spread it out back there and let it rot.
Yeah.
We don't like to use the bird seed for uh, mulch most of the time because we give the birds a lot of sunflower, and sunflower seeds and sunflower plants and roots have chemicals in it that slow the growth of other plants. So they wouldn't be the most wonderful thing to put by your plants as mulch unless you've got you got shrubs, for instance. The shrubs roots are way the heck out here. It's feeding roots. You could put almost any kind of mulch there. It's not going to affect it.
Yeah.
This is Jelena or one of those like it with the
Yeah,
orange.
Yeah.
Jelena,
yeah, a
Diana.
little too
Ruby.
orangey for Diane.
Yeah.
Diane's more reddish.
There are a lot of witch hazels down
They
there,
are.
though.
Some
And
of them are quite fragrant. Some are very small. The Vernalis,
see this
the
one,
ones that use Vernalis in the cross have smaller flowers than the um, Mollis.
Mollis, yeah.
Yeah.
That you can also in the botanical garden, you can go read what they are. This one isn't even named yet. Just the nursery, Brotsman Nursery that selected it.
Yeah.
They haven't named it yet.
The accession tag is on the other side, and it's just the same number.
Yeah. And you could check with the office.
That's almost for sure Arnold's promise.
They are beautiful
I mean,
plants. And that could be happening now. If it's warm enough next week, I won't be surprised if that, because we
Starts
missed
to
it last year, but it starts to pop while we're repotting. And I was looking for pictures. Steve, you have so many cool pictures, and I hadn't even noticed they were there. This is a banana fruit forming, right? The banana
Oh.
flowers are about
I
done.
think so.
Yeah. Because I'm working on a banana. I'm rolling this back and forth and leaning on the pot because it's so pot bound that it's hard in there, but it's not bulging. And I wasn't into cutting the pot, I think, because I didn't have another pot to work with. But here comes the banana, and it's got a couple of pups already. I think they call them pups. Anybody know? Do they call banana
Yeah.
babies pups?
Not sure. I don't remember hearing a term.
I'm finding on this one I can loosen the roots at the bottom.
Mm.
Loosening at the bottom is going to let me preserve more roots for the pup because I'll be able to pull roots on both sides.
Yep.
And look how far that root goes. And look, no gray hair. But the pups come
I
from
don't
below.
even notice.
Pups come from below. So that's basically an offset off the bottom. It's just a slight extension from the base of the original plant, which is not woody. That's basically all rolled up leaf. There's an extension that comes out and then it turns up once it's warm. And I'm going to take that, come from underneath and above and see if I can figure out where it's rooted so that I can take and I'm using my pruners there, reaching in and clipping it loose. There, clipped it, got
There
the
you
whole
go.
shoot coming out and the root. Have another plant to deal with. That's the bamboo called something ruby, Siam ruby, ruby Siam, something like real red leaves when they get going in the summertime. Yeah.
Yep. Therese has a hand up.
Oh,
Oops.
Therese.
Sorry, I know I always have a question, don't I?
No,
I just wanted
No
to ask,
problem on our
I was
end.
actually just laughing because Steve reached for my mouse to work his computer. I said, wait a minute.
Oh, I'm really confused tonight. It's hopeless.
join the club, Steve. So that was a banana tree that you had, Janet?
Yeah.
That you were working with. So we've got one here that's in the ground, and it, the pups come up and then they die, and if they are pups indeed, but you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I was wondering, without digging it up, like, do you think it's safe to take one of those pups off? Kind of, maybe I could dig.
If you've got something with a narrow blade like a root slayer, you saw how that grew. I think my camera is off. I'm not sure if the way that it grows is just below ground level is where it kind of stuck a little bit out to the side, and there's not much clearance between the mother plant and where it turns itself up. So you want to get as close to the mother plant as you want and cut. And something with a narrow blade like a root slayer or even a drain spade could cut down there.
Yeah.
It will have its own roots kind of attached. It looked like yours did, but
yeah, it'll have roots attached. And for that, after you slice it loose from the mother plant, I loosened the pot from the roots from below. You're going to need to loosen the soil out, like take a fork and something and loosen out where you've been standing to cut it down so that you can lift out its roots that are heading out your way.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Oh, people who grow bananas in their yard. Now, there are some bananas that are hardier than others.
Jim Slavinsky has.
Yeah, but you put like a whole bale of straw on top of them, and I mean,
he brings his in over the wall.
well, yeah. I remember reading. Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry to interrupt. I was just going to say the leaves of a banana tree when they brown and harden are lovely. They are so beautiful.
I wonder if that's us Northerners talking, and whether other people go, are you kidding
Leaf
me?
envy.
Well, yeah, and bark envy and everything else. There's a book. I think he wrote a whole book. Jim, what's his name from down at the Botanical Garden, Cleveland Botanical Garden, the one that's near there, Spring Grove. A book about hardy bananas and keeping them hardy.
Oh,
And the ones he was talking about was take the leaves up and you tie them together and you put foam around that and people are kind of crazy.
you're going right to that, Bernadette. What kind of banana tree handles Michigan winters? None.
Well,
Well, they
yeah,
hand.
there's one species with a variety or two that will live here if you grow it in a protected place, like Julia has hers right next to the foundation of the house,
Ah,
and you mulch very heavily, then you can grow them.
and then others, people move them right. They rent space in greenhouses. No.
Okay.
I'll buy
I
some
am used to the
miniature
ones in the
then.
Peruvian jungle. Oh, sorry, I talked over you, Bernadette.
Is that bird?
Oh, my sister sent me this banana tree from some company that said that they have fast growing trees. It's a lie, but he's sitting here with one leaf on him, and I'm used to the real ones in the jungle. So I just keep wondering, how do they survive in this winter when down there it's 100 degrees all the time?
Um, well, they definitely aren't evolved for this weather. It is a matter of taking care of them with very special means to keep them through the
And
winter.
in the
Yeah.
last few winters have been kind of mild. This one has been pretty brutal, so
Well, definitely colder, that's for sure. But none of them mild enough for the bananas to really make it on their own. That is for sure. Okay. Another bird that I'm noticing everywhere this week. Flocks of robins. Every place where there's crab apples, you'll see. I counted about 25 in the crab apple I went past on the road, taking the kids to school. Then I saw the group go over to the crabapple in front of the school. They're making their way around, making the rounds, and finding all the fruit. So watch for the cedar waxwings coming back and the American robins. Report is that in Montreal this week there is a European robin
Oh, he got blown over.
got blown over and maybe even rode partway on a ship.
Yeah.
Titmouse.
And the Blue Branch, when it was first put up,
Yeah.
that day, those squirrels were running on it.
I'm trying not to be so angry with the black squirrels. The species gray squirrel. The blacks are are like a subset of the gray. So the grays and the blacks are one species. They were here first in big numbers in Southeast Michigan until we people came in and cut down all the forests because they're heavy forest area tree squirrels. So their numbers died off. While meanwhile the fox squirrel, the brown one, which can do more, live more easily and with wide open spaces between trees, started multiplying. So when I was growing up, you never saw a black squirrel or a gray squirrel.
We saw them on Belle Isle. That was the
Belle
only
Isle.
place,
But-
or in the gross
Right.
place.
And now we're seeing more and more of them because they're making a comeback. We're not lumbering in Southeast Michigan anymore.
Yeah.
There's more and more area that's just neighborhoods full of trees of one kind or another. So I'm trying to feel better about these guys, but Steve does feed them a lot and they are having big families. I thought it was probably a good time of year to talk about damage. I hate using salt. We definitely have to use salt on our front walk here. We
Yeah.
didn't at the other house, but here the overhang drips on it and it's slick ice all the time. So I was reminding myself about salt in winter. This burlap here doesn't actually have to be there. This is a 50-mile-an-hour road, Woodward Avenue. And at 45 to 50 miles an hour, the spray from a car going airborne will go almost 200 feet. And that's airborne 200 feet. So salt spray is going a long way from a road if it's got fast traffic on it. So that burlap is not going to do a lot to stop things from hitting these evergreens back here. The grass does more.
It's denser.
They're very dense. I think it was the Pennsylvania Highway Commission that realized this. They planted heavy massed plantings of grasses on some of their freeways, and noticed far less salt damage to the turf that they were using on the slopes around where the grasses were, and realized that when those grasses stay up all winter long, the salt residue lands on the grass, and when you cut that grass away and cart it all away in the spring, you've taken the salt right away
Yeah.
with it. So anyway, you want to think about getting remedying any place where there has been salt. Water's the only way to do it. It's too early to turn the hose on, but if I had a special plant someplace, I'd be carrying a 5-gallon bucket of water out there on a decent day and just soaking it. Spray the water on it. If you have the hose on, you could just shower it really well,
Yep.
but at least push it down in the soil as much as you can. And while I was doing this, while I was looking for the articles about salt and whatever, I went looking for a particular one, went, oh my gosh, look at all these ones not posted yet, not posted yet, not posted yet. And of course, the one I was looking for most was not posted yet. So I went to get it out of our archives. I said, I'll get it and I'll post it this afternoon, Steve. This new computer can't even read those old files. I had to transfer the files to a disk drive, take them over to the old laptop, put them in there, convert them to a new file. So we better get this stuff all put on here quick because we're going to have it not accessed. It's too many things. But the ice dam problems, that you got broken plants underneath where there were icicles falling and snow falling on them. And the whole problem with the salt too, it's flush it with water and prune off what's broken. If it's broken, you can't do anything. Maybe Sue Gruber can talk about this. If I had a half broken rhododendron, I would probably cut the whole thing back if it was healthy, because you could leave some branches that weren't damaged up and cut back others. And if that made it look like half a shrub, like it was being chopped up for salad or something, I would say, why don't we cut the whole thing? But what about anybody else? What would you do? You'd be maybe cutting all the leaves off of it.
Maybe.
Anyway, but you do need to cut. You can't really do anything more special than that. Getting rid of weeds with salt. Somebody had written, and I thought, this needs to go there. And I've heard this before from people. Say you use salt to kill weeds. Don't put sodium in the garden. Don't put sodium in the garden. What it does to the soil, the reason that it's so bad for the plants, is that when it gets into the soil, it breaks down the bonds that are holding the particles of clay and organic matter and sand together, so that it deflocculates and settles and gets all compacted, and pulls water out of the roots of the roots. So
Sue totally agrees with starting over with the roto.
yeah, just cut it all back. And if it wasn't healthy, it won't come back. But when they're healthy, they come back real hard. They just don't bloom that year. I thought this was rather a clever way of trying to keep the salt off of something. Down, where was it? You and I walking that winter in Chicago on State Street, where all those big stores are.
It might have moved, but that's not downtown. But anyway,
no, this is by the Fisher Building. Yeah. But it reminds me of on State Street, where they've got a really deep, wide walkways and big cutout areas with gardens in them. For the wintertime, they just put sod on them. They cover them with sod, leave the sod there, roll the sod up in the spring.
Yep.
They don't even have to dig it up. They've just laid it down.
A chance to leach down.
Yeah. But I'm expecting to see some of this. I didn't get my pictures downloaded, but Steve, if you could stop by and look at those pines I was talking about. I'm seeing white pines really pale yellow this spring. I think there's been a lot of salt damage to evergreens along the sides of the road. Probably quite a bit of vole and rabbit damage this year. And then this kind of stuff that you see, this is on a weeping Japanese red pine, and these are dwarf Alberta spruces. That often happens in the late winter, very early spring on a warm day. These branches that are getting the warm sun, those needles reabsorb some of the water that they pushed out for the winter and start photosynthesizing, and that night they brown. So if we get a real warm up and you've got some special near and dear to you dwarf conifer, put up a screen to shade it. That's all you need to do is shade it.
It would help.
Yeah, because the little false cypress with the burn on it too. And if it's a real, like this fall cypress was little enough, I'm pretty sure that's ours, that I just upended a garbage can on top of it one night and put a brick on top of it to hold it down so it wouldn't blow away. I said, here, we need some protection just for the one night. Yeah, and I think everybody knows about rabbits and voles, what they do to the base of plants, and that your best bet is to cut it out. Don't say maybe it'll be okay. Cut it out and let it grow back.
Yeah, you watch it, then it goes bam.
Yep.
Bernie says juncos are still there.
Yeah.
Black squirrels are extremely aggressive and invasive. They will eat bald eagle eggs, not picky.
They're natives. They belong here.
Little red squirrels, Therese says, are adorable, cute, but they are very mean and aggressive.
The very first time I saw one of those little red squirrels on our feeder, I was watching him thinking, I haven't seen that one in the yard before. And I saw a fox squirrel working its way across the yard to the feeder. And I started talking to the little red squirrel. I said, you better get going, buddy, because that big squirrel's going to come and that's his feeder. And man, that little red squirrel he was biting the butt of the fox squirrel all across the yard, chasing him away.
They're mean little guys.
Yep, very aggressive.
Bernie also asked, what about the snow melt? Is it bad for plants also?
The snow melt?
The ones where it gets splashed with salt so much too, if it's...
Oh, I thought you meant the other types of de-icers. Clarify for us, or we're going to end up tangled up here with this. Do you mean the de-icers that are non-sodium?
Oh, okay.
Because yes, if it's based on magnesium or it's based on, what's the other one?
Yes, safe for pets.
The ones that say safe for pets, those are safer, but they're still a salt. So
still lifts their paws.
It's still a good idea to flush that stuff out, but there's less chance of that burning plants badly.
Therese has a hand up.
Oh, Therese spelled deflocculate. There's no K in deflocculate, but otherwise you got it. I said, that's pretty good. It's a cool word, isn't it? It's a cool word.
It is, and I love it. I always learn new words from you, so that's great. Sorry about the misspelling, but I've never even heard the word before. So
I wouldn't have been close trying to spell that.
I wouldn't have thought you had heard it before. So the fact that you took a chance at spelling it, I thought she did a really good job.
Yeah.
Thanks. Hey, if you wouldn't mind, you were just talking about shading particular evergreen that's near and dear. What were the conditions that are important to do that shading for
if you know that it's going to be clear skies on that 48-degree day and then it's going down below freezing that night, that's a setup. That's a setup for it right there. So
thank you so much for clarifying that.
Thank you for asking. I wouldn't clarify half the things that people didn't actually keep me on in line. You may have noticed this. I know I have noticed it, but I'm not sure if other people have noticed that there are always smaller growth bands on one side than on the other. And it's the side that is in more sun that generally is able to, the cells are able to expand further and multiply more times. So you can actually see which way a plant was facing if you cut through a branch.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Except that it was one of their dwarf evergreens that peeled over. You had to take it down. No questions over there?
Nope, other than Bernie says her red squirrels are so sweet.
Maybe we'll bring one of yours over here. Maybe we can get some genes from the nicer ones started in our neighborhood.
I didn't notice that Therese put her hand down, but her hand's back up.
Oh, maybe. Okay. I wonder if I have, I don't.
Nope, she put it down.
Okay. I don't have anything else prepared, Steve. So if there's no questions, we're going to have to do a song and dance and shuffle off to Buffalo out the door right now.
Nope.
Thank you very much for those of you who are supporting us again and signing up for the season 7. I'm pretty excited about the people that we're talking to.
Some new faces.
Yeah, some that Steve's
some old.
Yeah.
I've been noticing that I've been, let's say, assaulted by at least a dozen stink bugs in the last couple of days.
Yeah, that's time. They're almost certainly the brown marmorated stink bug, which is not native here, but the numbers have been increasing as they move through our area.
But it's so
They
cold out.
Yeah, they overwinter as adults. So in the fall, they kind of clustered in places that were warmer when it was colder, and often that's the side of a house. They find their way underneath the edges of aluminum siding. They find gaps just like the ladybugs do to get into. And then they might emerge in the winter. Some of ours were crawling around all winter long. But now, as the days get longer, they're even more likely to emerge, and they can as likely emerge the wrong side toward the inside of the house as toward the outside of the house.
Well, it's still cold outside. Sure, they're going to come in my place. And I keep
It's
my
still
place
Yeah.
open too.
Sorry, can we start? I'm sorry, we have to
I
start
had
that
to-
again.
sorry.
Steve and I have a cold and the cough was in the way. So start that over again. You said it's so cold out.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're not even getting to like the 30s and 40s until what, the weekend or next week. And so why would they come into my place at 62? Wouldn't they still be
no.
like hibernating out there?
No. Okay, they don't hibernate. They just kind of hang out. They don't eat. They don't do anything. They just kind of hang out. But they are probably in places like underneath the edges of aluminum siding. They might be between the walls. And if it's warmer, they may move toward the warmth. If the days get longer, more and more light, they may just start moving out of it, start moving around more, and they don't know which way they're going. They end up outside sometimes. They end up inside sometimes.
I went to take a drink out of my mug and there was one on it.
Yeah,
They go all over.
It's nice that they're
They
slow.
hide well in plants too.
I just cup them gently with my hand and go throw them outside and let them
Throw 'em
freeze.
back out. Yeah.
One
Some
just,
people say they can smell them. I can only smell them if I squish them. So some people have a better sense of smell than I do.
well, I can't smell them. I had my dad's zapper from when he was zapped like flies and stuff. And I'll fry them to bits if they're by their front door. And someone said, don't let this kill them because then they smell it and then the more come. But I don't know if
All
that's
right,
true.
are we gardeners revealing ourselves or not?
Yeah.
Exactly how do we feel about stink bugs? Exactly how do we feel about rabbits? Exactly.
If it was like a snake or something, my surface animal here will take care of it. Right before COVID, he came
Storm
walking
window
up to the
frames.
kitchen with a 4-foot snake from my basement.
Yeah. So Suzanne has the stink bugs in her storm window frames. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a big crevice for these things to
What?
I think we
Is there a
can
way to deter them? Like
Like
to
what?
go to someone else, somebody
feel
else?
things up. Turn the mic-
Turn mine.
No. Um,
Like lavender
Okay.
or something that would make them go away?
no. If there was an answer I could give you, I would be calling the extension services all the way from here to the East Coast to say, here's an answer, because there is no answer. They say, seal up the cracks they're getting through. Good luck sealing up the cracks around your house with your windows, your siding. They're always going to find a way in. The numbers will probably drop off as they've been here for a little longer.
Therese wanted a marmorated define.
It was the brown marmorated
Yeah, brown marmorated
stink bug.
stink bug. Yeah.
The word marmorated, what does that mean?
It has to do with the modeling it's the pattern on the shell. I'm pretty sure it's there are some plants whose second name is that.
Yeah.
With an marmorate.
Yeah.
Marmorate. Yeah. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Jean's got a hand up.
Just a follow-up question on the stink bugs. My condo face.
Excuse
Hang on. Well, let's
Yeah.
take the one that we were trying to take there. Who are you talking to there, Steve?
Jean.
Yeah, let's let Jean get her question in first.
I'm sorry, it's not a question. I just wanted to mention real quick that I am reading The Bees for our book club. And oh my goodness, these bees are practicing eugenics. It's pretty dark.
Well,
I hope it's not real. Is that the way they really act in hives? I mean, do they just go around and bite people's heads off if they're inferior? But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to mention I'm reading the book and oh boy. Well, actually, I'm listening to it.
okay. Well, it's a good way to read the book. Yeah, I don't remember the dark so much, so it must lighten up quite a bit.
Suzanne says where they nest, she just goes ahead and vacuums them up.
You can actually buy a vacuum just to suck up ladybugs. Bees are pretty
cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool creatures.
Yeah.
They can do. Suzanne says bees have language in their dance.
They sure do. They can tell a lot, give a lot of information to to the other bees.
What was the name of the used bookstore?
ABE Books.
The
.com.
online one.
That's online. It's
Giant King. I don't know if they're still there.
Oh, oh man. Oh, they are still there. I noticed them last time we were down there. John King Used Books is a cool place. Go up to maybe they've changed it. On the fourth floor. That's where all the garden books are.
Yeah.
Go there. But anyway, what was it? Why were we? Okay, well, whatever the question was about books, it's gone now.
Yeah. Suzanne studied linguistics. Teresa learned so much about bees from Bees in the D lecture at the library. Cindy, was that the Waterford Library? Did we have somebody talk about?
Yes, it was the Waterford Library. Janet, you couldn't stay one night, and Brian.
Yeah, that's right. Right from
Yep,
the group that has all the hives downtown. Yeah, I did miss that one.
Fascinating.
Yep, and I forgot that's even the name. Bees and the D's is what they call themselves
Yeah.
for the beekeepers there.
Do you know why do you know why that's their name?
Because they were the brothers, weren't they? Not brothers,
they're partners actually, but they're both of their name is Brian. And so when their friends would go to visit them, they go, "Hey, let's go see the Bees and the D," because they live in Detroit.
Yeah.
And so that's what they named their the business.
Yeah, it's a good catchy name, really is.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt again. I went and capped their hives with them one time. That was a blast, and I highly recommend it. It was fascinating.
I am fascinated by bees.
Yeah.
We were going to go and see Sonia is connected to the Beekeepers Association in a very strong way in Ontario. One of her best friends is the bee. Anyway, and a lot of beekeepers, big beekeepers. These are that we opened the barn and looked in, and there's row upon row a 55-gallon drum full of honey in the barn that they're shipping out. So these are big beekeepers. And I thought, oh, good, we're going to go see the hives. And one of the women came and stood in front of me, waving her hands. No, don't. We had our dogs with us, and I had dogs on the leash, the black labs. She said, no, you can't go anywhere near where the hives are with those dogs. I said, well, they won't. She said, no, it's not them hurting the bees. She said, they'll kill them, especially black dogs. The bees seem to react to them as if they're a bear.
Right there.
And then I wonder if I have time to tell you about the dogs was anyone else at the Wildflower Association conference in Michigan this spring and went to the presentation that the woman did has the dogs that sniff out bee diseases? Okay, anyway, we went to see how they train dogs. This woman said that she had her dogs, she originally was training her dogs to be cadaver dogs. They would look for buried bodies and, people that were dead. She got burned out on doing that and started training dogs to sniff for bed bugs when they go to hotels. And then recently, because of the bee disease, I think it's called foul breed disease, they've taught them to smell out foul breed. And she had this dog demonstrate for us. And it was this little tiny packet hidden in a big auditorium, and the dog found it and marked that was what it was right there. But when she goes to work, this dog, she has to wear the netting and the suit, and it is hysterical.
It's got to look
this
great
dog with a bee net on and completely covered, like in a Tyvek suit. You got to see that.
That had to be cool.
No, sorry, taking up too much time.
All right. Therese was told not to wear sunglasses also because it looks like an insect. So, all right. That's it.
Okay.
About 8.
Yeah. So
That's it for Free for All Friday.
Yep. And our next weekend walkabout, which is the end of season 6, is planting trees. Marv Petway. I always want to put an extra syllable in your name, Marv. He's going to talk about why you put shade trees out and where you can put them and what happens when things are close to the house and all of that. That's March 7th. And then we'll be here next week, Friday, for number 67. Yep. And boy, I'll be outside. We'll have a zillion questions to talk about. Enjoy the fall, you guys.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a good night.